Okay, so oh geez, am I lower than usual? Anyway, um, yeah. So I guess it's hence the reason why I had a panic attack. Because the reason why I'm good now is because I just have to be honest with myself, and this is kind of the point of my vlog and what I aim to do if I do anything with any of my videos is to kind of reach out to people who have depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, whatever it is they have, and just kind of tell my story. And if it kind of can make you feel like I can get through it, then you can get through it too. Because I know there's some pretty dark corners to it. And yeah, if you don't have it, don't claim to understand. That's um, there's a lot of people who get really sad, but they don't understand how deep the holes of depression can get. I'm not going to try to make it sound like I'm on some mountaintop. It's actually I'm glad you don't have to go there. Other people, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to describe it and say what led up to it, and just get that out there. So I could tell I was off a little bit this morning. Um, when I woke up in the morning, I don't know, didn't want to be awake. If that made any sense, if that makes any sense, I woke up and it was like, damn it, sleep is required here. I don't know if this is being the wonderful L train of Chicago is getting picked up by the microphone. I hope not because it's quite loud to me. But anyway, yeah, I didn't feel great this morning. Um, to for a little fill in, I'm originally from Cleveland. I moved to Chicago here, and I got a job in sales, so I'm doing telemarketing essentially. I'm calling law firms and I'm looking to sell them a legal software. We'll sell them on a demo, but a demonstration of our software. Anyway, it just got to the point today where um, I was not just anxious. I was literally in fear, in panic of making these calls. And I don't know. I've made hundreds of calls so far already. Um, it's just there was this like existential dread to making the next call, and I just kept making the calls. And then today was the day, and I'm not blaming him in any way because he actually handled it well. My supervisor, I ended up having to tell him, yeah, dude, I had a panic attack. Just want to let you know. That's why I kind of dipped out for a second. He's really cool about it. Didn't make a big scene, but he came over to my desk and he kind of was just kind of sitting on my calls and giving me some advice. And that just made me more anxious on top of the anxiety I was already having with these calls I was having to make. And then he walked away and I jumped on like two more calls. And then like it just hit me. Like my heart just started pumping or just beating on my chest, just uncontrollably. I started just shaking. I mean, just my entire body was shaking and I had this urge to cry. I mean, it was like there's no memory, there's no emotion, there's nothing I'm losing, there's nothing. It's just dread, it's just fear, it's just the emotion incarnate, no thoughts. Because that's what I want to explain to anyone who doesn't have depression or bipolar disorder or whatever. If you've never been through this, there is not a thought. Sometimes there is a thought and the thoughts just make it worse. I mean, obviously I had the context with which it was stressful, but at the end of the day, it's like you can explain out the situation to someone and say, oh, no, no, honey, you're fine. Look, this doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what is causing their panic attack is not that. It's more. And that's why I do think talk therapy is very beneficial to a lot of people. It's that's why I'm doing this. I'm talking it out. This makes me feel so good. One, just getting it out there. I'm organizing my own thoughts, kind of going over the event. And then two, like I feel good that I'm getting it out there for anyone else to know. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's friends and family and people who might eventually watch this, and that's quite frankly, it'll embarrassing. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm not lying, and that's the bar for me. It's like as long as I'm telling the truth, it's like whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. And that's where I'm at. So I'm getting the 5 minute mark. That's pretty much everything I wanted to say. And I didn't really describe the panic attack itself. So I was losing control of my breath. That's the other thing. My heart was pounding on my chest, but I do breathing exercises regularly because of my condition. I make sure I'm always controlling my breath and being mindful of it. Making sure to raise it when it gets too low and making sure to slow it when it gets too fast. But it was irregular. Like I had to like force myself to breathe because I wasn't breathing, but also like when I was breathing, it was like forced. So it's like this odd paradoxical combination that like my body didn't want to breathe, but every time I forced it to breathe, I was like, I mean, I've had times when I had other panic attacks that I just flat out passed out. But normally that was when there's like a direct stressor in front of me. This was one of the few times that it was just kind of organic. And actually, I've had a few near misses, but this is I do want to say the good things that this is one of the first ones I've had in a long time, and one of the most severe I've had in a long time. So, taking the silver linings, things are going well. I had good supports. It's also about having the own mental supports. That's one of the biggest things is knowing I've been there before, knowing I can make it through it is big. But yeah, just to describe the panic attack itself for anyone who's curious, it's just heart's beating out of your chest, can't control your breath. I mean, I was shaking, I was sweating, and the thing is, like, mucus pouring down my nose. I was sitting in a stall in the bathroom, mucus pouring down my nose. I'm just bawling, crying for no reason, just and just sitting there, just shaking and trembling, and just like struggling to breathe. Sorry to anyone who's in the stalls next to me. I'll be honest, I was so out of it at that time that I don't even know if there's people in the stalls next to me. I just bust into the first stall I could find and just fucking plopped down and went. So, all right, but that's the end of the broadcast. 7 minutes. Thanks for anyone who listens, and peace. Be loved. What is up?